Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, so we'll start the session. So we are on the OOPS concept. Like previous classes, we discussed about the OOPS, some basics like what is the class, what is the object, and what does it mean by variables and types of variables and methods. What does it mean by methods and the types of methods and constructors. What does it mean by constructors and the types of constructors? So these are the basics for the OOPS concept and access specifiers as well. These five are the basics for the OOPS concept. After that, we have the OOPS principles. Total, we have the four OOPS principles. First one is the encapsulation. Encapsulation is it is used to combining. It is the process of combining variables and methods as a single unit. As a single unit. So best example for the encapsulation is the Java classes. Whatever the Java classes we are written till now, like the fundamental programs or might be any program, if you write, so we can able to write the program with the help of variables and methods. Every example, we can say every Java class is best example for the encapsulation. Encapsulation. Next, in the encapsulation, we can achieve encapsulation with the classes using the classes. We can achieve using the classes encapsulation using the classes, and this is the first principle. And then second principle, we have the inheritance. Inheritance is the process of extending the properties from parent to child class. From parent to child class. So someone is joining. Inheritance, it is the process of extending the properties from parent class to child class. Parent class to child class. And third one, polymorphism. Polymorphism, it is object can exhibit the multiple behaviors based on the situation. Based on the situation. In the polymorphism, again we have the two types: compile time polymorphism, and the second one is the runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism. After that, we have the abstraction. Abstraction is it is used to hiding the unnecessary data and providing the useful information. Providing useful information. We can achieve the abstraction using classes and interfaces. Using classes and interfaces. Using classes and interfaces. We can achieve the abstraction by using classes and interfaces. So access specifiers is the small topic. So last session we discussed about the access specifiers. Basically, access specifiers, it is used to specify the accessibility of our classes, methods, variables, and constructors. We have the four types of access specifiers in Java: public, private, protected, and default. These are the four access specifiers we have in Java. Public, it is used to specify the global access of our classes, variables, methods, and constructors. And like last session, practical also, like we discussed with the class name, variables, and class name, variables, methods, and so in case of public category, we can take public as the class name, that is valid. We can take the public as the variable, that is also valid. And we can take the public as the methods, and we can take the public as the constructor. We can take the public as the constructor. If you mention the access specifier as the public, then we can access within the class and outside the class as well. Within the class and outside the class as well. Next one, private. Private is the access specifier. It is used to specify the local access of our variables, classes, and constructors. We cannot take the private as a class name. we cannot take the private as a class name. Why? Because if you mention the private as a class name, then we cannot access anywhere. We cannot access anywhere. So class name we cannot take as a private. So that is the first point. We cannot take private as the class name. Second one, we can take private as the variables, that is valid, and we can take private as the methods, and we can take private as the constructors. We can take private as the constructors. The next thing, we have the protected. Protected members we can access within the packages and subsystem. Whenever you mention the access specifier as a protected, then you can able to access within the package and subclasses as well. Subclasses meaning we can inherit the properties from parent to child. In that case, we can be able to use the protected specifier as well. Default specifier means if you not mention any specifier, then it will default it will take as the default specifier. Default specifier. So this is a very small topic. Last session we discussed about the access specifiers, and then after that we have the OOPS principles. So last day we started with the OOPS principle, that is the encapsulation. So first point we will discuss like encapsulation. It is the process of combining variables and methods as a single unit is called encapsulation. Best example for the encapsulation is the Java classes. Java classes. We can achieve the encapsulation. We can achieve the encapsulation using classes. Using classes. This point you got this one. This point you got it. Like we can achieve the encapsulation using the classes. With the help of classes only, you can able to achieve the encapsulation. Okay. What is the main purpose of encapsulation is providing security. Providing security. This is the main purpose of the encapsulation. This is the main purpose of the encapsulation. Okay, I will take one example, and the example is public class. The class name is bank account. I will take bank account. Bank account is the name. Here I want to take the three properties. First one is the bank account name number. I would like to take the account number, and the second one I will take some account number, that is I will take some number. This is the account number, and next thing I will take name, string name. Here I will take some. Okay, here I will take the double balance. Some. So balance should be the decimal. So here I am mentioning the access specifier as a public. Here also I will mention access specifier also public only. Here also I will mention access specifier as a public. So if you guys observe here, I am mentioning access specifier for the class also public, and access specifier for the instance variables also public only. So if I mention the public, we have the, if I mention the public, so what will happen? If I third person also can access. If the third person also can access, no issue. If the third person can manipulate the data, then we will face the issues. That is the drawback actually. If the Like whenever you mention the public access specifier, the third party persons can able to access. If the person able to access, there is no issue. If the person manipulate our data, then there is no security. Then there is no security. For avoiding that issue, we are declaring we are declaring instead of public, we are declaring private. we are declaring private we are declaring private. Okay, I am mentioning instead of public, I am mentioning the private, and here also I will mentioning the private. Here also I will mention the private. Okay, so the class name, the class access specifier is the public, and the variables, instance variables access specifiers is the private. Access specifiers is the private. So if I mention like this, if I mention like this, now I want to return the value. How can I return? We'll have the method. So I will take the one method that is public. I want to return the long value. Then I will mention the long and get account number. I will take the account number, and this is the method from here to here. From here to here. Here I will mention the this dot return statement. This dot account number. This dot account number. Yeah. So whenever I mention the access specifier as a private, we have the one advantage. Advantage is security. Security. No person, like third party person, cannot access and cannot manipulate. So that is the advantage. That is the one advantage. And so if I mention the private, we have one disadvantage also. What is the disadvantage? What is the disadvantage? We have one advantage, that is the third party person security. It will, whenever you mention the private, it will provide the security. And whenever if I mention the I would say we have the one disadvantage also. Disadvantage is code reusability. Code reusability meaning, if I mention the like say access specifier as a private, we cannot access, we cannot use anywhere. We cannot use anywhere. That is the one disadvantage. Advantage is it will provide the security. Disadvantage is we cannot reuse anywhere. We cannot reuse anywhere. So that is the code reusability. We cannot use the code anywhere. We cannot reuse the code anywhere. If I mention the private, we have the one advantage. That advantage is security. Security meaning third party person cannot able to access, cannot able to manipulate. And we have the one disadvantage. That disadvantage is code reusability. Code reusability. If you declare as a private, we cannot reuse. We can access within the file only. We cannot reuse. So how will you overcome these two? This drawback. Drawback means we need to reuse. We need to reuse, and we need to reuse. So how will you access that? How will you overcome that disadvantage? We can overcome with the help of, so Java will provide two methods, that is the setters and getters method. Setters and getter methods. Setters and getter methods. With the help of these two methods, we can access these private variables out of the class also. We can, with the help of getters and setters methods, we can use these private variables out of the class also. Then you can reuse the code anywhere. Wherever you want, you can reuse. Wherever you want, you can reuse. So that's why the Java provides the methods like setters and getters. With the help of setters and getters methods, we can reuse our code. We can reuse our instance variables. Wherever we want, we can reuse there. We can reuse. we can reuse. So like we'll understand like deeply what is the syntax for the setters method and what is the syntax for the getters methods as well. So I will take MS Paint and through that I will explain. Here you should remember for every instance variable will have the two methods. One is setter method, one is getter method. For every instance variable will have the two methods. One is setter method, second one is the getter method. Setter method is for setting the value, getter method is for getting the value from the variable. Setter method is for setting the value for the variable. Getter method is used to getting the value from the variable. So now I am taking the one variable. This is the instance variable. Instance variable is int id, private int id. Okay, so this is the instance variable. For every instance variables will have two methods. One is instance variable and second one is the I would say one is a setter method, second one is the getter method. So I will take the setter methods. I will write here the setter methods. Setter method set the value for the variable, for variable, set the value for variable, and we will have the getter method. So we'll see like getter method. Basically it is used to get the value from the variable, okay. So we'll deeply understand what is the syntax for the setter and what is the syntax for the getter method. What is the syntax for the I would say getter setter method and what is the syntax for the getter method, okay. So now first we need to specify the access specifier. First if I mention the public is the access specifier. So instead of public, if I mention private, what will happen? Instead of public here, so these are the private variables. Now we are discussing about the setter method. So I am taking the public. So instead of public, if I take the private, what will happen? Okay, that one we'll see. First I will write the syntax. Public, I am writing the public, and for every variable we'll have two methods. One is the setter method and second one is the getter method. So access specifier is fine, and second one is the return type. So I am writing the return type is the void, and method name. Method name, how will you write the method name? So for setting the values we will have the keyword. So set is the keyword, okay. Set is the keyword, and we are writing the setter method for home. We are writing the setter method for home variables, instance variable. For every variable, we will have the two methods. One is the setter method, second one is the getter method. Right now, we are writing the setters and getters for the instance variable int id. For int id, we are writing the getters and setters methods. Okay, I am writing like first one is the access specifier and return type, and second one is the method name. So I am writing like this. So id is the name, variable name, okay. So if I write like this, like in the naming according to the variable naming convention, it is method naming convention. Is it valid? So method name can contain number of words, like the second word first character should be the capital, that's it. So that's why I'm mentioning set id, okay. The access specifier, return type, and this is the method name. Next parenthesis, and here I will take the int id, and from here to here, this is the scope of the setter method. Here I will mention return. I will mention return, not return. This id equal to id. id. What does it mean? What is the purpose of this keyword? This keyword is used to represent a current class object. This keyword is used to represent the current keyword. What I am doing here is, setter is the method. Setter will take the parameters. Setter will take the parameters. Here this id is the local variable. So this id is the instance variable. We are initializing the variable. We are initializing the instance variable with the local variable. With the local variable. Got the clarity? Actually, I would say set id is the method. We are passing the method here. id holding one value. id holding one value. This id is the local variable, and this id is the instance variable. This id we are initializing with the local variable. This id is local variable. Whatever the id we are id is holding value, I would say instance variable we are initializing with that id. This one got it, everyone? I will explain one more time. Private int id, for every instance variable will have two methods. One is the getter method, second one is the setter method. First method, I would say setter method, it is used to set the value, or it is used to give the value for the variable. Set the value for the variable. Set the value for the variable. So, and second getter method, it is used to get the value from the variable. So now we are discussing about the setter method. In the setter method, now we are doing the like while writing the method, we will have the some syntax. Like first one is the access specifier. I am mentioning the public, and next one return type is the void, and method name. Whenever you are writing the method name, set is the keyword. Set is the keyword. In Java we have the keywords like around 48 keywords will be there. Set is the keyword, and after that I am writing the id. Why only I am writing the id? Because I am setting the value for this id. That's why I am writing the id. But according to the naming convention standards, second word first character should be the uppercase. That's why I am writing the id like this. I am writing the id like this, and then I am passing the parameter. That parameter is for set the value, taking the parameter. Generally setter method is used to taking the parameter. And here we are initializing the instance variable with the local variable. This one, anyone have any confusion? Setter method, Naveen? Confusion? Okay, I will explain one more time. This is the bank account. Bank account has some properties like account number and name and balance. If I mention the private, then anybody can access and anybody can manipulate. So that is, there is no security. To overcome that drawback, so like we are mentioning the private meaning hiding the data, providing the security. I am mentioning these properties as a private. And so if I mention the private, we will have the one advantage and one disadvantage. Advantage is it will give the security. Disadvantage is if you mention the private, we cannot reuse the code. We cannot reuse the code anywhere. That is the disadvantage. So to overcome that disadvantage, Java provide two methods. That is the setter method. Second one is the getter method. Setter method and getter method. Setter method is used to set the value for the variable. Variable meaning properties. These three are the properties. Now here I am mentioning the properties. So default I am not mentioning the values here. These three are the instance variables only. These three are the instance variables. I am not initializing any value with the instance variables. We have the two methods. One is the setter method and second one is the getter method. Setter method is for setting the value. Here there is no value for the instance variable. With the help of setter method, we can set the value for this instance variables. So setter methods and getter methods. Java provides the setters and getters methods. So we will have the syntax. So they will provide the syntax. Okay, fine. Then is there any syntax for writing the setters and methods? As we have the syntax. The syntax is like this. The first one, like at the methods concept, we have discussed about the method syntax. First one, access specifier. I would say. Next one, return type. Third one, method name. So method name, how will you write the method name for the setters? So first one, set. Set is the keyword. And ID, why you are writing the ID only? You are writing the setters method for ID only. Got the clarity? For example, here we have the another variable also you can assume. Private and long. I will take string name. Okay. We have two instance variables. Among those two instance variables, I am taking only ID. Because I am try to initializing. I am try to getting value for the ID only. That's why I am mentioning the set ID. According to the naming conventions, second word first character should be the uppercase. Second character should be the uppercase. So I am going here and so first one, access specifier public. Void meaning method don't want to return anything. And set is the keyword. id why I am mentioning id? I am setting the value for the id. So that's why I am mentioning the id. And next thing, so from here to here, this is the scope of setter method. Setter method, and setter method is used to set the value. So setter method is the taking the parameters. So int I am taking the id, and here I am taking this dot id. This id is the instance variable. This id is the this one. And this id is this one. And I would say this id is the local variable. This id is the local variable. This id is this one, and this id is this one. We are initializing the instance variable with the local variable Oh, clear, everyone clear this one? We need to understand the syntax, then only you can able to understand. Like with the help of IDs, you can easily get the getters and setters methods, but we need to understand the syntax. That is the important. That is the shortcut is the, before the going to shortcut, we need to understand the syntax. Setter method is taking the parameter, and that parameter initialize with the instance variable. This one, anyone has confusion? Anyone? So can I go for the getter method? So I am going the getter method. So what is the syntax for the getter method? So getter method also same. First one is the public access specifier. Second one is the I want to get value from the variable. So which every variable has the two methods. One is the setter method, second one is the getter method. So setter method for this id I have written. I am right now I am writing getter method for the same variable. So the same variable data type, what the data type of this ID? Int. That's why I am returning the int data type, and get is the keyword. Get is the keyword ID. If I mention the according to the method naming convention, the second word first character should be the capital, and first character should be the uppercase. So in the getter method, I am returning. I don't want to take any parameters. I am just the method. Main purpose of that method is to return the value. I am not taking any parameters. So I am just taking the method data type is the integer, and within the scope I am returning the value, integer value. Return this dot id. This dot id meaning instance variable. Instance variable. We are returning the instance variable. We are returning the instance variable. This is the syntax actually. This is the syntax for the setter method, and this is the syntax for the getter method. Generally what will happen, like whenever you create the object for the class, whenever you create the object for the class, every object will have the copy of the instance variables. Copy of the instance variables. Whenever you initialize one value with the instance variables, that instance variable, for example, if you initialize with the instance variable with some value, some like account number, 301 is the value. If you initialize with that value, this setter method has taken as a parameter, and that parameter with initialize with the instance variable. Initialize with the instance variable. That is the process. From object, from the value is coming from the object. Every object has copy of the instance variables. Every object. If you, for example, like one class contain number of objects. Every objects will have the copy of the instance variables. Every objects will have the copy of the instance variables. Copy of the instance variables. These getters and setter methods, anyone have any confusion? Here the method is not returning anything. The method is doing the operation is initializing the instance variable with the local variable. ID is the local variable. This ID is coming from the object. Whenever you are creating the object, there you are passing some value with the help of e dot set. That value is taking this method. Set ID is taking that value, and that value is initializing with the current class instance variable. This is the, we are from here, this box is variable declaration, variable initialization. Which variable we are initializing? Instance variable we are initializing with the local variable. This id is the local variable, and this id is the instance variable. Instance variable we are initializing with the local variable. This local variable will get the value from the object creation. Whenever you create the object, and there we will pass the variable like e dot set set id or set name. Then set id will pass there the value. The value is taken a parameter as a parameter here, and that value we can initialize to the instance variable. So that is the process from object to this method. Any confusion, anyone? This method is only void, meaning the method don't want to return anything. The method want to perform operation. That's enough. Here also, in this case also, this method is don't not returning anything. The method is doing only initializing. Whatever the it is taking id somehow value, that value it is initializing with the instance variable. This dot id is the instance variable, id is the local variable. So this method is taking the value, that value is initializing with the instance variable. Instance variable, that value we are returning with the help of another method, that is the getter method. Getter method main purpose is to return the value, to get the value from the variable. How will you get? We will have the method, that is the get method. Get method return type is int, and we need to give the return instance variable, return dot instance variable. This is the instance variable from here to here. This is the instance variable. This method main purpose is initializing the instance variable. This method main purpose is to get the value from the variable, to getting the value from the variable. So if you use these two methods with the help of getters and setters methods, we can reuse these private variables anywhere. We can reuse these private variables anywhere. That is the advantage with the encapsulation. With the help of getters and setters methods, we can reuse these private variables anywhere. If you not taking the setters and getters methods, we can able to access within the file only, So I will tell the, like normally I will write here public void set id int id, and here from here to here I will take this is the private, is it? This is the private. Here I will mention here I will take the id also, private int id. Private, whenever you mention the private access specifier, we can able to access within the file only. So that's why I am taking the public method, and I am using these variables, these private variables within this setter methods. Within this setter methods, this dot id. This id is this one, instance variable. This instance variable I am initializing with id. This id is this one. Whatever the parameter you are taking to the method, this id is this one. This is the local variable. This is also local variable. With the help of local variable, we are getting the value from the object. So at the time of object creation, I will tell you like how the value is coming and all. So simply right now you can assume this id is holding the one value, and this is the local variable. This local variable is holding one value. That value we are initializing with instance variable. This is the initialization, variable initialization. Set id is the method. With the help of set id method, we are doing the variable initialization. Got the clarity, Naveen? Got the clarity? So next one, now this id having holding some value. How will you retrieve that value? How will you get that value? With the help of getter method. So I will take the getter method, like public. This id return type is integer. So the method also will return only int only. Get id, and from here to here, this is the scope of get method, and here I will return this dot id. This is the syntax. Before going to use the shortcut, we need to understand the syntax. Then only you can use the shortcuts. Any confusion, anyone? These private variables I am using with my file only. These methods are the public. These methods I can access anywhere. I can access anywhere. So with the help of these methods, I can access anywhere. So that's why I'm saying this is the we can reuse anywhere. This method we can reuse anywhere. We can reuse anywhere. This one.
In the get method, we use return ID.
Get method. Get method. Public int is the int is the return type and return this dot id.
We only use return ID variable.
Uh,
This not needed, right?
okay. Okay, okay. The only return whatever you want, you can return that that you should you should mention in the ID. Okay. So anyone have any confusion? These two are very important. You should understand. Like long also same issue, same process. For example, if you want to long, same. First one we should do. We need to set the value. For that one, setter method, public void and set. You can mention what the value variable name for the long account number. Then you can mention account number and here long is the I would say data type. You can mention the account number and from here to here this is the scope of set method. This dot account number equal to this account number. This account number. This is the local variable and this is the instance variable. The same way for getter for with the help of getter method also we can able to get the value from the variable. Get the value from the variable. Got the clarity? Guys, following everyone? So this is the like before going to use the shortcut, you should write with the I would say notepad. Then if you whenever you understand the syntax and all, then you can use the shortcuts. Without understanding syntax for the setters and getters methods, don't use the shortcuts. Don't use the shortcuts. Okay. Okay. Now same properties I will take on Eclipse and same properties and I will write down program then Eclipse. I will take the Eclipse and I will open the Eclipse. Launch. So encapsulation, it is the process of combining the variables and methods as a single unit. Example for the best example for the encapsulation is the Java classes. Whatever the classes we are written, every class should be as an example for the encapsulation. Next thing, we can achieve encapsulation using the classes only. Classes meaning you are writing the every program with the class name only. So bank account is the class name and class is the keyword. Class is the keyword. In the same way, we can achieve the encapsulation using the classes. using the classes. What is the main purpose of encapsulation is the providing the security, or we can say hiding the data also, hiding the data also. Both we can say providing the security or hiding the data. And so I will take the same example, bank account, and I will write. So I am taking the search project. Here we will have the basic programs. Control N is the shortcut for the creating class. Control N, and here I am mentioning the bank account. I am mentioning the bank account. Okay, this is the class. This is the class. Bank account.java. Okay, this is the class. Here I need to mention first one, private long account number, and I am declaring next one, private string account holder name, string account holder name. Next thing, private time account type. Account type also you can mention. Now private, I would say balance. I will mention the balance I will mention in the form of double hmm? double balance double balance double balance. So these three are the variables. These three are the variables I am taking. So this IDs basically provides the shortcuts. Why these IDs are providing the shortcuts? With the help of IDs, you can easily write the code. You can easily develop the product. That's why IDs are providing the shortcuts. In the same way, in the encapsulation perspective also, IDs will provide the shortcuts. That is, right click over the file, and we'll get the sources, and we'll have the option, that is the generate, getters and set methods. And I am selecting these three: account number, account holder name, account number, and balance, and generate. If you observe, it is the ID generate methods. You can observe every variable has the two methods. You can observe the total will have the 6 methods, and total we have the 6 methods. So with the help of IDs, you can easily get the getters and setters. So before going to use this shortcut, you need to understand the syntax. Everyone, before going to use this shortcut, should write the manually the syntax in the notepad. Whenever once you get the clarity, then only you can use the shortcut. Without get the clarity, you don't use the shortcut. Okay, so shortcut is very easy. Like, take the three instance variables and mention access specifier as a private, right click over the file, and there we have the show sources. Under the sources we will have the getters, generate, setters and getters. Generate, getters and setters. There, if you double click there we will get the options. We need to select the options, then ID will generate the getters and setters. Instead of normally who will generate the getter, we will write the setters and getters. Developers will, our only, we will write the setters and getters. So instead of writing ourselves, ID is providing setters and getters. Why? Because with the help of IDs, we can easily we can easily develop the project. That's why ID is providing the setters and getters. Okay, this is the bank account. This is the bank account. Now I will take I will take one class, that is the test class I am taking. From here to here, I am deleting this all the things. I am accessing bank account. We have the three instance variables. So I am calling that I am calling that class in another file. First I will create the object bank account. So for object creation also we'll have the one shortcut. That shortcut I will explain. So first we should write the class name. Class name is bank account, and so bank account. After this, press Control plus one and enter. Control plus one and enter. Then you will get the shortcut. I will write bank account. You will get the shortcut. Now bank account is the class name. Okay. This class name I am storing. With the BA. BA is the reference variable, and I'm taking the class name account bank account bank account. Now you can observe these are the instance variables. These instance variables don't have any value. We need to pass the one value. That is, how will you pass? E dot set. We'll have the method, that is the b dot set. I am mentioning the account number. Here I will mention long, for that purpose I am mentioning the. This is the first step. First step is we are passing the value. Whenever you are passing this value, so b is holding the value. B is the reference variable, and this is the object creation. Every object has their own copy of the instance variable. This object also having instance variables. Whenever you are initializing with this value, this object have the instance variables. This value will be stored in this instance variable. That instance variables we are taking as the parameter. We are taking as a parameter with this method. We are taking as a parameter. That value we are taking to this method. This is the same account number is holding this value. This value is initializing with this account number. This is the instance variable. This is the local variable. This local variable is coming from here. This is the step number 1. Step number 2 is the passing parameter. Step number 3 is the initializing the value. Step number is the initializing the value. We are passing the value from here. This is the step number 1. We are passing the value b dot set account number. We are passing the value. Whenever you are passing the value, every object will have the copy of the instance variable. Every object containing a copy of the instance variable, and in the bank account number, this method is taking the parameter of the instance variable. That instance variable is assigning with the this instance variable. Like this is the local variable. Local variable is initializing with the instance variable. And same. We are getting the value with the help of getters methods, and so I am going here. b dot getter method, get account number. Okay, so if you want to print the this get account number, this should be in sysout statement. That should be in sysout statement. Control V and remove this one. Okay, save the file, and bank account also save the file, and simply go here and run the file. Run as Java application. You can observe. You can observe. You will get the result. You will get the result. In the same way, remaining also. In the same way, remaining also. Anyone have any confusion? Account holder name. Here I will mention account holder name. I guess we are mentioning some other data. Account holder name we are mentioning string. Yeah, this is where we need to mention setter. And there we should mention b dot getter, get account holder name. This line statement should be sysout statement. Sysout statement. There we can pass this one and control S. If you run the file, then you will get the account holder name also. You can get the account name holder name also. You can get the. So this is all about encapsulation. Anyone have any confusion? Guys, anyone have any confusion? Encapsulation. Got the clarity, Naveen? Got it? So before going to use the shortcut, you should understand the syntax for the setters and getters methods. Then only you can use the shortcuts. You can use shortcuts. So I will explain one more time, and then this is the OOPS concept. We have the four principles basically. Four principles. Before going to start the OOPS principles, we need to understand the basics of the OOPS. Variables is basically you should first thing you should understand the and what is object. Second thing you should understand the variables, types of variables. Three types variables we have: instance variables, static variables, and local variables. After that, we should understand, we should aware of the methods. Basically methods are used to perform the operations. Two types of methods we have: instance method and static methods. Instance method also called as object level objects. Class static method also called as class level objects. Class level objects. Next thing we have the constructors. Constructors are used to initialize the instance variables. Initialize the instance variables. Constructors is used to initialize the instance variables. In the constructors, we will have the two types of constructors: zero parameterized constructor and parameterized constructor. Next, I would say access specifiers. Access specifiers, it is used to specify the accessibility of our classes, our variables, and our methods and constructors also. Constructors also. Access specifiers, we have four types: public, private, protected, and default. Public is used to specify the accessibility, global accessibility, and private is used to specify the local accessibility. Protected it is used to protected members accessibility within the package and subclasses. Next, default. If you not mention any access specifier to the variables, classes, methods, and constructors, then it will treat it like as a default one. Default one. These are the basics for the OOPS concept. In the OOPS concept, we have the four principles. Four principles. Before, what is the prerequisite for the OOPS principles are the these are the prerequisites. Should aware of the class and object, should aware the variables, should aware the methods, you should aware the constructors, and you should aware the access specifier. Then only you can able to understand the principles. We have the four principles. Encapsulation. Encapsulation is the combining variables and methods as a single unit. Best example for the encapsulation is the Java classes, and we can achieve encapsulation using the classes. With the help of classes, you can achieve the encapsulation. Second thing, inheritance. Inheritance, it is the process of extending the properties from parent to child, or extending the properties from one class to another class. And second one, polymorphism. Polymorphism, it is the process of exhibiting object can exhibit multiple behaviors based on the situation. We have two types: compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Next, abstraction. Abstraction main purpose is hiding the unnecessary data and providing useful information. Useful information. We can achieve the encapsulation using classes and interfaces. Using classes and interfaces. Next, using classes and interface. These are the access specifiers, and after that we are discussing about the encapsulation. So like if I mention the instance variables as a private, then third party person also manipulate the data. If the third party person manipulate the data, then there is no security. If the person access, there is no issue. If the person manipulate, then only we have the issue. There is no security. Avoiding that issue, we should declare as a private for the instance variable. If you mention the if you declare instance variables as a private, we have one advantage and we have one disadvantage. Advantage is security, providing the security. Disadvantage is we cannot access anywhere. We cannot access anywhere. We can able to access within the file only. We cannot reuse anywhere. That is the drawback. How to overcome this drawback? Java providing the methods, setters and getters methods. With the help of setters methods, we are private variables we are using within that method. That method, setter method and getter method access specifiers are public. So whenever you mention the public, those methods we can use anywhere. We can use anywhere. Here also same setter method I am taking, and this is the setter method. Setter method is this method don't want to return anything. The operation is initializing the instance variable with the local variable, and the main purpose of the setter method is set the value for variable. For variable, get method main purpose is get the value from the variable. Get the value of the get the value of variable. Next, this method main purpose is returning the value. Return the value. That's why you are mentioning method data type is the integer. Returning is the ID. Returning is the ID. Before going to use the shortcut, we need to understand the syntax of the setters and getters. You should write the manually. Once you get the clarity, then you should use the shortcut. If you not get the clarity, you should practice manually with the help of notepad only. Whenever you get the clarity, whenever you get the 100% clarity on the syntax with the help of notepad, then only you can use the shortcut. Okay. So that is about the encapsulation, and take a 20 minutes break, and at 4 o'clock we'll start second principle, that is inheritance. Okay, take 20 minutes break. The time is around 3:40. We'll start the next session, and in the next session we'll start the inheritance.